Well, happy Monday to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Market Day Report. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, and I want to take a quick look at how we're opening in the grain markets here to start out the week. Let's go to the board and look at the corn and soybean trade. We'll look at the wheat as well, and also the cotton. All right, on the corn, as we get things started here, I did not see any overnight export sales listed by USDA this morning, so that's not a factor. December corn starting out a little weaker this morning, 2 lower on December at 347 1/4 per bushel. Let's take a look at the soybean trade. On the soybeans, January up 8 3/4 at 10.54 3/4 per bushel. March up 9 cents right now. Let's take a look at the wheat market. How's it starting out? In Chicago, we have December down 4 1/2 at 391 1/4 per bushel. However, that's off of its overnight high by about 6 cents. So keep that in mind. On the Kansas City wheat market, we had December down 2 1/4 at 409 per bushel. That one is off of its high by 5 1/2 cents. Meanwhile, Minneapolis wheat has December trading a penny higher at 535 1/4 per bushel, just like it did last week. It outperformed the Chicago and Kansas City markets. And in the cotton market right now, we have December currently trading 34 points higher, knocking on the door of 73 cents. It's on the high of the day so far. Also the high of the overnight trade at 72.99 cents per pound. Let's go for some analysis. Let's go to the phones and welcome Dewey Strickler. He's with AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. Dewey, happy Monday to you. What's kicking the soybeans in the shorts here today to make them boost higher like they are?
Well, you had the palm oil in Malaysia was higher again overnight, and it's all just related to that, Marlon.
It's all related to the outside markets. All right, so we can talk about palm oil, but in the bigger picture here, is there something more at work driving this entire soy complex like it is? We were hearing rumblings that maybe there was some concern in Brazil last Friday of maybe some weather issues down there.
Well, when I looked at the weather this morning, they had some scattered showers over the weekend. They got some more scattered showers here by midweek, so I would say the weather is really not an issue. You've had, of course, your soybean market as it is now. We're up 7 days in a row, and you've had some pretty strong fund buying, and they're not ready to let go of that here yet.
Okay, so as you mentioned, we have had a pretty good run in the soybean trade. Also want to look at the value of the dollar and the crude oil market here with you, Dewey, if we have a chance here. Right now, the U.S. dollar index is showing the December futures just down 20 points at 101.530. That's 100 points off of its earlier high from overnight when it would have been a little higher at that time. Meanwhile, on the crude oil market, this market here has been firming up this morning. January West Texas crude now up 92 cents at 46.98 per barrel. That's way off of its earlier low by about $1.80. What's going on there, Dewey? Have you heard?
Really haven't heard anything so much in the crude oil. The dollar, of course, has been on a very strong uptrend, and as I have said before, I look for that dollar to go up into the 103, 104, 105 area before we put a major top in.
Have you heard anything why we are seeing the divergence in the wheat trade between Minneapolis and the other two exchanges here?
Haven't really heard anything about that. Of course, I think part of the reason the market is down this morning on wheat is we do have the dollar up a little bit firmer here, and we've got some moisture in the forecast here, and of course wheat in the Midwest could definitely use some moisture, as well as into some of the areas of the plains as well.
All right, well, Dewey, I want to pause for a quick little break here, and then when we come back, I want to see how the livestock markets are opening up. Lots to consider there. In fact, we had a gap in that cattle market. We want to take a look at that when we come back, and we'll have more with Dewey right after these messages. Well, we're back with you, and we are talking with Dewey Strickler. Dewey is with AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky, and we're talking with him this time about the livestock trade. And Dewey, I'm looking at the prices right now. In fact, let's take a look here together at the latest live quotes from Chicago. On the live cattle board here to begin things this week, we have December now trading 63 lower. We're trading at 110.12 per hundredweight, and we have the February contract down 70 cents. In the early going, we're trading at 111.50 per hundredweight. The range is not quite a dollar wide. They're about 90 cents wide at the present time. A lot closer to the lows than we are the highs. Now, on the feeder cattle side, we switch over there. January currently down just 11 cents at 127.12 per hundredweight. And you have the March down 3 cents at 123.32. It is important to note, though, on that January contract, for example, on the feeders, we are off of our high already by $1.10. even though we're barely lower, we had been fairly sharply higher in the early going there. Is that just some immediate follow-through buy orders that we happen to see based on Friday's higher close, or what?
I think it probably is. It may be starting to sink in, though, that we did have, of course, the cash sales of cattle were $2 to $3 higher last week. But, you know, when you look at the beef in cold storage, the end of October, they are at the end, or they are setting at record highs here. So we're going to have some pretty strong demand to whittle that down.
What did you make of the cash cattle trade that we saw last week? Because right before Thanksgiving, we saw a pretty active trade develop there, and boy, that was a sharply higher trade than what we saw the week before.
I think what you've got some of the packers here, retailers, are just trying to stock up on a little bit of beef going into the December holidays.
Have you seen anything in the way of bids or asks in the early going here today so far on the Monday?
Not this morning, I haven't. Not so far.
All right, let's roll over and take a look at the lean hog trade here, Dewey. Let's see what that holds. Right now, we're higher across the board, but boy, just barely. December lean hogs are up 5 cents. We're trading at 51.10 per hundredweight. The February contract is the biggest gainer right now. We're up 33 cents per hundredweight, trading at 57.08. I wanted to get your opinion here, Dewey. Have we now rolled everything out of December into February for the most part on the lean hogs?
I think for the most part that we have here. I think that your Feb hogs are getting a little bit top heavy. Now they may try to ease on up here closer toward the $58 mark, but they're getting up here ripe for a break.
Right before the break, I was mentioning that on the cattle market, if we go back to live cattle, we actually had reports that there was a gap left on the charts on Friday, and that was a very short trading session on Friday, and I just wondered how much merit you put into that little chart gap, and if that is still remaining open yet this morning.
Well, so far that gap area has held, Marlon, and if it continues to hold here for, let's say, another into about mid-late morning, then we might see a little recovery here in February cattle, maybe try to get them up here in the 113 area here. But like in the feeders, we are getting very close to a top in these cattle.
All right. Well, Dewey, good to visit with you again. Thank you so much for helping us open up the week. Dewey Strickler, he is with AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. You can get in touch with Dewey for more information. He'll be glad to help you out with your own marketing plan. So, Janet, there you have it. The hogs hanging in there, cattle under a little bit of pressure even after they started out on the firm side. So we'll see.
We'll see how
it's
another
early.
Following Thanksgiving, of course, heading into Christmas, they talk about the
Don't
demand.
forget, we're coming up on the end of the month, so funny things can happen.
There you go. Thank you very much.